Here with David Hawks at the NASS meeting 2023, October. And we're here at Nexus Spine, where they're doing some pretty novel things with printing and 3D printing for their implants. And just want to hear more detail about that, like what the innovation is, the flagship product, that sort of thing.
Great, thank you. Well, I would say that human tissues get motion by bending rather than sliding. A human disc is a flexible material rather than a sliding material. And so we use a new field of engineering called compliant mechanisms, where we get motion by bending metal rather than sliding metal on metal. One of the things that we've done is we've taken a porous titanium but made it flex in the same way that spinal cancellous bone flexes. And by exactly matching the stiffness of spinal cancellous bone, we can get rapid bony formation in the device and on the device. I would say that all competitive devices are too stiff. And by being too stiff, they're going to get fibrous tissue formation, which is good. That works. It just takes longer to get stability from fibrous tissue than the bone that we're getting to form in a matter of weeks.
Okay.
We use that same technology in other devices in addition to interbody spacers. Our pedicle screw system also locks by flexing the titanium.
Oh.
And so by doing that, we are able to decrease the volume to about 1/4 the size, increase the strength, and decrease the number of instruments that are required to put it in.
So this isn't a printed product, though? Or
Yes.
is it? Oh, it is. Okay. So this has built into it some flex,
Yeah.
so that it can have the micro motion that you need for osteogenesis, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're able to print those rods.
So what kind of analysis did you have to do to try to get a similar sort of flexing for,
Yeah. This is a new field of engineering that's now just being taught in universities. And our engineering group, they have PhDs in this new field on how to calculate the stress at a microscopic level in order to keep every microscopic finite element within its elastic limit. So there's some special math and some guiding principles that allow us to decouple strength and stiffness, so we can bring stiffness down while keeping strength really high.
Okay, interesting. So where are you in the process as far as like FDA clearance or things like that, regulatory?
Well, we've been in business for 13 years. Our devices have been implanted for the last 8 years. So we have 510K clearance on 13 products. We've done thousands of surgeries at this point. We haven't really pursued sales and marketing until we could show that we improved outcomes and we decreased cost. And so we feel like we're there now. We can show that our devices actually do that. And so now we're ready to maybe target the sales and marketing.
So you said 13 years?
13 years,
okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about the founding of the company?
Sure, yeah. I co-founded this with a fellow named Gary Crocker.
Okay.
Gary's in his 70s and he has a history of successful medical device companies. So he's at a stage now in his career where I would say he wants to do more than make money.
Yeah, sure.
He's really wanting to maybe leave a legacy of he made a difference in healthcare.
Yeah, I can understand that. And so how did you guys meet about this, or what was the genesis, I guess?
When I met him, my business was developing products through regulatory clearance and selling the product rights to large companies. He was looking at supporting universities in the state of Utah. And so a university there in Utah said that they had a way of replacing a human disc that restored stability rather than just restoring motion. And he said, okay, I have interest in that, but I don't know anyone who has expertise in that field. And they said, well, we have an alumni.
I think so.
Alumni plural.
Alumnus one.
Yeah.
And so we met, and he and I attended trade shows for about a year and really identified the shortcomings of existing hardware. And he said, you know, it looks like the products that are being used are largely the same, and they largely have the same shortcomings as each other. There's an opportunity here to make a difference.
Yeah.
And so we took the BYU compliant mechanism technology, we've married that with 3D printing, and created devices that solve the problems that I would say existing hardware has.
But this isn't necessarily motion preservation. This is about like developing a product that will be more effective at fusion. Is that correct?
The original device was motion preservation, is motion preservation, and we have that.
Okay.
But that doesn't solve all of the indications for surgery. And we said, hey, as long as we're in this space, let's recognize that current pedicle screw systems have shortcomings. Let's address those too.
Okay.
Current interbody spacers are too stiff. Let's address that too. So we've brought all of that along. The original device from the university that's motion preservation in addition to fusion products.
And so you came up with a design where titanium could be used to flex in here?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So this device here, you can see we use this compliant mechanism technology to get motion out of metal in the same way that spinal tissues provide motion.
How would you say, you train, how do you train for this sort of thing? Or are you at the stage of training surgeons for implanting and that sort of thing?
That's been an interesting part of it is surgeons have a lot of training already, and they're really good at the surgery. And so we needed to make our devices work with their excellent techniques rather than have them modify their techniques. I would say that many of the shortcomings, 10 to 15% of patients that get very poor outcomes, are not so surgeon related as they are hardware related. So if we could make our devices work with their expert hands, just with that, outcomes would improve. We didn't need the surgeons to change as much as we needed the hardware to change.
That's smart. So what do you think is next for you guys from here out?
So we've attacked the major revenue segments first: lumbar fusion, lumbar interbody, and cervical motion preservation. So now our technology, we have time, support to start addressing some of the smaller revenue segments that still matter. There's still opportunity to decrease cost and improve care by using the technology in posterior cervical or idiopathic scoliosis and some of the smaller revenue segments that still have shortcomings in the hardware.
So I noticed you don't have like visual media at the moment. Do you have plans for that in the future? Oh, I'm sorry.
We do a little.
Okay, yeah, I'm a sucker. All right. Yeah, go ahead. You can talk a little bit about this. So I can see you have an animation here.
Yeah, one of the difficulties I think with the booth is if you put something up that looks like what others are providing, then people say, oh, it's just the same. And so we need some kind of media where people say, that's different. And we've struggled some in showing how we're different without ever showing something that looks the same.
Right, okay.
As soon as somebody sees a threaded pedicle screw, they just keep moving. They offer threaded pedicle screws. As soon as they see porous titanium, they just keep moving. They're not going to even stop and say, yours is the only one that's flexible.
So what do you think the challenges are for marketing? You were saying you're doing that in-house instead of an agency, right, to get the word out about your products. Mm-hmm. What do you think the biggest challenges are for that?
I feel like we have 3 different, or maybe even 4 different individuals or parties to whom we're selling. The hospital, and they have certain interests. The surgeon, he has different interests. The rep has even different interests. And then a patient, and sometimes the patient doesn't even get to participate in the decision-making process. And so we have to find a way to show the hospital that we meet their needs of decreasing cost, the surgeon that we meet his needs of improving outcomes and being easier, and then the rep that we meet their needs of being able to feed their family. And so having a simple message that communicates to all of those parties that we meet their needs is challenging, and doing it in a way that we don't look like we're just the same as everyone else.
Sure, yeah, that's definitely a challenge. So you're at NASS. Is this the first time you guys are at NASS showing?
No, we've come to NASS for 13 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been here all since we started. And I feel like it isn't necessarily here to generate sales leads as much as just support the industry.
Okay.
Yeah, we just want to be a good part of the community.
Okay. Do you plan on attending any other trade shows?
Yeah, we attend some of the smaller trade shows throughout
like
the
regional?
year. Yeah, regional.
Okay.
Yeah. There's.
Where's the company located?
We're located in Utah.
Okay. So is that where you hit like the regional shows, or do you pick certain metropolitan areas to?
Well, Dr. Antonio Castelvi, he started a meeting in Duck Key, Florida,
Okay.
and he was
Oh.
a friend of mine, so
Okay.
we would attend that. You know, he's unfortunately passed, but we continue to support that show in his
Okay.
memory. There's a show at Park City, the Selby meeting, and because that's in our backyard, we also go to that. We've gone to ISASS because we are about motion preservation. It seems like that show, though, in many ways, isn't talking about motion preservation anymore, but we still go to it.
Yeah, well, that's great. I really appreciate your time, David Hawks.
Thank
It's
you.
great to meet you.